Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel membership video for November. I'm going to start off by saying thank you for being a channel member. You guys put in that little bit of extra that. I'm going to start off by saying holy cow! Channel member. You guys put in that little bit. There we go. That was me. I had I have it on the other screen so that way there I can actually see the comments faster. The ones in my StreamYard, for some reason, there's a little bit of a pause. So it usually takes me an extra 30 seconds to see what's going on in StreamYard from when you guys actually post a comment. So I have the other one up as well. And, well, that's what happens when you forget to mute it, right? All right. Anyway, what I was saying was thank you guys for being channel members. It really appreciates it. And I know it's not a lot, but it certainly helps support the channel. So you guys had the opportunity to vote for pretty much anything that you wanted to. And guess what? You guys chose penny stocks. So we're actually going to talk a little bit about penny stocks here today. So I think that's going to be fantastic. And of course, any of you who are here, for example, Sammer. Hi, Sammer. Hope you're having a wonderful night so far. Feel free to throw questions in, do whatever you want. This is your guys' live stream. I'm just showing up and doing the stuff. That's all I'm doing. So I'll talk a little bit about penny stocks. So I don't talk a lot about penny stocks on the channel. And I'll tell you why. Because there is such a high level of risk when you're dealing with penny stocks that I don't want people to think I'm promoting a penny stock, because if I were to do a video on penny stocks and somebody was like, well, that's where I bought these stocks from, and then they go completely bust, and that can happen in penny stocks because of that extra level of risk. I just don't want to put that on people. That's one of the reasons I've been very hesitant towards looking at penny stocks. But this topic that you guys came up with, how to approach a penny stock on a fundamentally, I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was a great way to hit on penny stocks without me promoting some stock that maybe next week will be worth zero, or maybe it'll go to the moon. Who knows? Penny stocks is much more like gambling, in my opinion, but there is still a way to approach it fundamentally. So we're going to talk a whole bunch about that. And as well, if you got questions, I don't know how many people are here right now, but I know that Sammer's here. Also, if you're watching this on the replay, and most of you probably are, you could still ask questions. Just do it in the comments, and I will answer each and every one of them. So I basically boiled down to about 8 points I want to make when looking at the volatility, when looking at the fundamentality of penny stocks. And I just mentioned volatility. That is actually the first thing. With a penny stock, you are looking at a higher volatility. So these things can move much faster, up, down, sideways. Well, I guess you're not really moving fast if you're going sideways, but they do move much faster. So penny stocks are often super, super volatile. Their prices change rapidly. So you want to keep that in mind. You can quite literally invest in a penny stock and it can drop like 3-4 cents almost immediately on you, or even bigger amounts. I've seen some insane volatility within penny stocks. Here's the thing, though. You have to look at it that this kind of cuts both ways. A highly volatile stock may fall, but it also may rise. So you do have to play that. And if you're looking at doing more short-term trading, that might be attractive. However, and this takes me into my second point, these stocks will have much lower liquidity. So then liquidity basically means that you may put in an order for them and there may not be stocks available. That can happen. I know it happened to me once. There was a stock I was trying to buy, and I was trying to buy a lot of them because I was trying to day trade it. And quite literally, I put in my order, and it took about 15 minutes to get all of the stocks that I put on order because of that liquidity. And it was the same thing when I decided to sell it. And afterwards, I think that was the stock that sort of taught me that lesson about liquidity. I was like, oh dear God, I really, really shouldn't have done this. And there was other reasons I shouldn't have done it either. And we'll talk about that momentarily. Well, actually, a little bit later, we'll talk about that. So another big thing is I'm always telling you guys to do your due diligence. And with penny stocks, sometimes it's more difficult because there's often limited information. Sometimes the information just isn't out there, so there's less public awareness. People aren't writing articles. You're not going on YouTube and finding videos on these stocks, so you're not really getting a lot of information. So you really have to do your due diligence. Sometimes it's just really, really difficult to get some of that information about it. So it's harder sometimes to make informed investment decisions when you're dealing with penny stocks. And Chad is in the house. And then a Sammer says, don't use registered account with penny stocks. Yeah. Don't play with your penny stocks in your TFSA or even your RRSP. If you're going to be gamble, because this is more of a gamble and you're kind of playing with it, this is the type of thing where you say, okay, well, I'm going to maybe put aside $100, or maybe you want to put aside $1,000. Who knows? I would do it personally. I would do it in a in a cash account. Just keep it off to the side if you're going to play with something like that. Part of the reason for that is that, well, the fact that there's a high risk, if it does go down, that's space that you're losing in that TFSA. So you don't want to do that. Now, when you look at a blue chip stock, right, and you have a blue chip stock in your TFSA, if the price goes down, it's going to come back up eventually. So you can basically play the waiting game and you're going to be fine, especially with blue chip. Long term, you're almost always going to be in the green. Not so much with penny stocks. If you put, let's say you put $5,000 into some really hot penny stock and that business just tanks and goes to nothing, well, you've just lost $5,000 in room in that TFSA. So that's something you don't want to do. So that makes absolute sense. And that's kind of the whole thing. One of the things is when you are approaching these penny stocks, you really, really want to turn up your research. Research is key. It really is. Due diligence and thorough research into the company's fundamentals, their market position, and any kind of potential that they have for growth are really, really crucial. So you want to be looking at their charts. You want to be looking at everything about them. Now, we are going to, after we go through these 8, I'm going to pull up a tool that I would use if I was looking for penny stocks. And then we'll just we'll go in and we'll just look at a random one and sort of do a little bit of fundamental analysis on it. So we are going to do that. Now, here's this other word. You've probably heard, if you've been following Bitcoin, people keep calling it a speculative asset. Well, that's up for debate. Bitcoin has been around long enough that I don't personally see it as a speculative asset. But when you're looking at a penny stock, oh dear, banana bread, these things are speculative a lot of times. So they have a very speculative nature. So investments in penny stocks tend to be more speculative. It's important to be prepared for that possibility that they may fall. They may, they may have some serious issues. Like you may lose your entire investment. That's kind of one of those things. When you hear people say, don't invest more than you're willing to lose, that goes tenfold when you're looking at a penny stock. So you want to make sure that it's basically just some play money that you're maybe things are going to be good. Maybe things aren't. Sammer likes the Bitcoin. So BTC is king. In the world of crypto, yeah, BTC, in my opinion, is, the only, Ethereum a little bit too, but Bitcoin definitely at the top. So now the other issue too is when you are looking at penny stocks, there are regulatory risks that can come with them. So what we're basically talking about is some of these stocks, they may not actually meet the listing requirements. So for major exchanges. So for example, you're not going to find them on the TSX. You may find some on the TSXV, but you may be looking at other exchanges just for that simple reason. And the reading for that simple reason. Now, the other thing too is if they're really new companies, sometimes they come in, sometimes there are situations where you run into fraud. Like, for example, if you look at crypto, so many times you get these coins that pop up that are absolute scam coins. Well, this happens in penny stocks as well. It's the very same thing. Sometimes people will create kind of a fraudulent company just to sort of suck investment money out. And then they're going to cash all that investment money in once you bought their stocks and dissolve the company, and you've lost your entire investment. So you want to be a little bit careful of that. Now, another area that you want to also be aware of is diversification. So when you're trying to diversify your portfolio, you want to do it in such a way that if you are investing in penny stocks, you want to make sure that your diversification is mitigating some of that risk. So, in other words, keep your penny stocks to a very low percentage of your portfolio. If you're going in full bore on penny stocks, 100% of your portfolio, that's just not smart. And you're probably not going to be successful in the long term. You might get lucky. I don't want to say that you can't. Like if you happen to be, I mean, everybody, like Amazon was once a penny stock. Google was once a penny stock. So you could get lucky. You could find that next Amazon or that next Google or that next whoever. But the odds are stacked against that happening. So you want to be very kind of careful. And I've heard people say, oh, well, I'll just put all of my money into 10 different penny stocks. I just need one of them to explode and I'm going to be perfectly fine. Sure, but there's that possibility that all 10 of them don't explode, that you end up picking the 10 duds. It's easier than you might think because it's kind of a mad world out there. And you do have the fraud. There's just a lot of quicksand out there. But that's fine. The last point that I wanted to make before we sort of take a look and see what we can see when it comes to penny stocks, is when you're looking at risk management. You want to come in here, you want to basically have a clear idea of what your limits are when it comes to how much you're willing to invest and lose. That is important. You want to also look at stop loss orders to limit potential losses. Like I normally don't worry about a stop loss order on a blue chip stock, but if it's a penny stock and I've gotten into it, I would definitely think there's nothing wrong with putting one of those in there. There's still a big danger because sometimes when things fall apart fast, just because let's say you bought a whole bunch of things, let's say you bought 1,000 of these stocks at 50 cents, and you say, okay, well, at 45 cents, I'm getting out if it falls. It can sometimes be a point where it'll go like to 46 cents and then it might gap. So basically with it gaps, it basically will jump. So it might jump all the way down to 30 cents. That should hopefully still fire off your stop loss, but you're going to at that point end up with 30 cents instead of the 45 where you put it in. So you have to sort of be a little bit careful with some of these things. Chad says, BTC is proof of work, not stake. So therefore BTC is king. Yeah, absolutely. I think, and everybody and their dog knows Bitcoin at this point. In the US, you're getting a lot of Bitcoin ATMs pretty much all over the place. And I'm pretty sure we have some in Toronto, some of our bigger cities in Canada. And here's the thing. Right now, the SEC has pretty much stopped fighting when it comes to a Bitcoin spot ETF. So a lot of people are convinced that we're, I don't want to say days, but that we're, not far away from having that first Bitcoin spot ETF in the US. And that could be very interesting. There's a lot of experts that think that there's a possibility that that's going to be the sort of that tipping point that really drives up the price of Bitcoin. So we'll have to see how that goes. See, now, are you talking centralized or decentralized? Personally, now oh, this is a good question. I don't know if you're asking me about the crypto we were talking about, or if you're talking about some of these penny stocks. Here's the thing with a penny stock. I would be very hesitant to grab one if it wasn't on at least one of the smaller exchanges. So let me pull this up here. Give me a second here. I am going to pull up, and we are I'm going to pull up TMX Money, and I probably should share it with you guys. You can see what I'm doing. Let's do that and share screen. Okay, here we go. We'll grab this one here. Perfect. Okay, just give me a second here. Put me down here in, actually, there, that makes it a little bit bigger. All right, so with TSX, and this is, oh, you were talking about cryptocurrency. Okay, yeah. It's interesting. I mean, the whole idea is kind of against centralization when you're talking about cryptocurrency. So it's one of those things. I know the whole general idea of Bitcoin was that, you don't have any kind of a regulating body, but we're kind of at the point that we need regulation. Otherwise, it's just not going to get adopted. But you can still be very decentralized, like coin wise. So, and it still is. If you look at Bitcoin, even if we put some regulations in there, even if, the SEC or whoever throws regulations on Bitcoin, it's not going to take away from it being decentralized, because you still have to have the same consensus level across all of the nodes to be able to make changes to it. So I think that's going to be fine. Let's see here. Chad says, look what happened to gold when a spot ETF came to gold. To the moon it went. Yeah, absolutely. I've seen there was somebody, and I can't remember who it was. One analyst group that were predicting Bitcoin could go to 170K within a few years after a spot ETF comes out in the US. That to me sounds really optimistic, but I can see us getting back to 60, 70K again if we get that spot ETF. So it's kind of one of these things, like, I do have a plan. If that spot ETF comes in, I plan to have at least something sitting there ready to explode with it, because, it's going to be a big opportunity to make some money. So that's the way I kind of look at that. All right. Now, let me pull up this here. Now, this here is it's a TMX Money. So it's done by TMX. They're the group that owns the Toronto Stock Exchange. So in their tools, we're just going to go in there. We're going to see if we can find a penny stock in here. Let's just go to a stock screener. We'll pull up a stock screener here. And here we go. Just give me a second here. I'm just going to I'm moving a few windows just to make it a little bit easier here. All right. I'm going to move the main window off to the side here. Okay, perfect. Now I have the stock screener. All right, let's go in here. And what we're going to do here is, first of all, we got all kinds of search criteria. So let's start with exchange. So what we know that it's not going to be on your TSX. So we'll add this, and this here will let you search on a few different ones. So TSXV, CSC, also NEO. So let's go with everything but, and I'm going to put the NEO in there too. So everything but the TSX, because on the TSX, we're not going to find a penny stock. All right. So we got that done. Now I want to, let's see here. Let's go to stock price, because we're looking for a penny stock, right? So yeah, let's put in a stock price filter. And this time we're just going to bring this slider way down. I'm just going to come in here. I'm just going to go with $1. There we go. So we're looking for stocks that are less than $1. And we got a whole bunch here. Look at this. Holy banana bread. We got quite a few, and we got 10 pages of these penny stocks. All right, so now is where we can start thinking a little bit about, well, okay, what are we looking for? So one thing we might be looking for, and this is where we can take a look and let's say, let's look at their performance. Let's make sure that they're actually doing okay. So we can go with, we could do 52-week change. That's, yeah, that's not too bad. So how far the stock has changed over the past 52 weeks. Oops, get rid of that little plane there. We're going to hit that. We're going to bring that all up. We'll take a look at ACT here after we just do this little screener thing here. So 52-week change. So I want something that has a positive 52-week change. Let's say I'm looking for at least a 10%. Let's see. And this is small potatoes, right? But looking at that, all right, we had 10 pages. Now we're down to 4 pages. So, okay, let's go bigger. Let's say at least 25%. All right, and that's brought us to, oops, 3 pages. Okay, well, I want something really big. Let's see if we get some 50%. So these are companies that in the last year, their price has gone up by 50%. All right. And we're down to 2 pages. So we got a whole bunch of different ones. So that's fine. So what we can do here is let's go over here to performance and let's actually take a look here. So, okay. So here's a company right here, HMR. They seem to have done really, really well. So let's take a look at this HMR. I'm just going to open up a additional window here. Just give me a second here. Let's, here we go. All right, we'll take a look at this HMR. All right, so and this is Home Run Resources. All right, well, I want to take a look at I don't know how long they've been around, but let's look at their 5-year. Okay, so, okay, they've been around for a while. They've exploded, though, in the last little bit. What did they do? So before I even look at any of this stuff in here, I want to know what they do. So they're focused on exploration and development in production of minerals and the critical elements and energy metals sector. Okay, I'm bullish on those sectors, so that's not a bad thing. All right, let's come in here. Their EPS is in the positive. I like that. Now I don't have a lot of other stuff here. Now you're almost never going to find dividends in here. So that's fine. I'm going to come over. Let's go over and take a look at some of their key data. So let me see here. So remember I mentioned that they would be pretty volatile. So there's their beta 2.2. So they're more than twice as volatile as the market average. All right, now let me take a look here. I don't have a return on equity. The return on assets, though, is in the negative 147.52%. So yeah, they definitely had some roughness in here. Now, this is just one company. I would go through more of them and I would start looking for more information. So for example, what I might do with this, let's say I still liked this company, so HMR, I might pull up something, for example, like, let's go, might go into simply Wall Street, for example, and we'll go with the HMR home run. Here they are, right here. We'll take a look here, and we'll take a look. Let's see here. So the risk analysis, I do like the risk analysis they give. Though let's pull this all up here. So right now they don't have a lot of revenue. There's no real forecast of growth. They have less than a year of a cash runway. Well, we know that they're going to fail there. All right, well, let's see where they do pass. They actually don't have negative shareholder equity. That's good. Yeah, so there's a few little things in here. So looking at it, like this is a company I would probably pass on, but you know, it's just one of those things. That's kind of the whole way I'm going to go. If I still liked Home Run Resources after checking out another source like this, I would then be inclined to start going over and taking a look at to see if I can find any kind of news, going to their website, looking at their investor information. So those are all kind of things I would do just to get things along the way. Now, Chad said ACT. Let's take a look at this ACT. What is ACT? Let's see. Afrocentric investment, or is Enduro Clean Technologies? Is that what we're looking for? There we are, right down here. Enduro Clean Technologies. Let's go in here. All right. So once again, risk analysis. They do fail a few things, but they're going to fail a lot of these right away. For example, because they're penny stocks. They don't have that high revenue. They don't have that significant market cap. Now here, their earnings have declined by 49.4% per year over the last 5 years. That's a little concerning because I want to see that trending in the other direction. But let's take a look at them over here. Let's just pull up ACT. There we go. All right, I'm going to pull it over here. I want to take a look and see what they've been doing over the last 5 years. No, I'm not really getting much here. Let's try 3 years. Okay. Yeah, they've kind of. Let's just look at the last year. Yeah. Now this here, when you see this type of thing, this blocky thing, that's what you're going to see sometimes with lower liquidity. So this one here, I kind of like I kind of like the other one a little bit better than this one, but I know that you guys kind of like this one. And this one, I mean, it may do something. I don't know. What do they do? Let's take a look. Oh, give me a second here. Oh, we are on the overview. Let's see here. Okay, so they have a novel chemical conversion process to transform waste plastics and low-grade renewable oils into renewable fuels. Definitely, this I like. I like what they're doing. I think long-term wise, there's going to be demand for stuff like this because it is kind of cool. All right, I'm just going to bring this back over so I can see the chat again. And Sammer says that I have some Enduro as well. Yeah, absolutely. So it's just one of these things, one of these ways is you're going to go through it and there's going to be stuff that you absolutely don't like. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. When we go back to the stock screener, so for example, we looked at this one. We also have this AMQ. Let's just take a look at the second one. And this is kind of what I would do is I would basically go one by one and see what I can find. So this one here it's a metals company. So let's take a look. All right, I'm just gonna, let's take a look here. Let's look at their last year. All right, so what the banana bread? That's a big pipe, big jump. I'm going to come down here and just take a look. Okay, so Gold Seek Resources engaged in business actions and exploring of mining properties. Okay, so it's mining. I do like mining, even though sometimes we get this negative EPS in mining lately. I've noticed on a lot of different ones, but I'm going to come over here very quickly into the key data. Going to take a look at a few different things. Okay, so now return on assets. That's a little bit better, negative 4.96. Return on equity, it's negative. I don't like it, but it's negative because the earnings are negative, so that's pulling that down. So this one's not so bad. Their beta is actually not that volatile. So they're about around the market average. So this AMQ is looking interesting. Let's go over here. Let's look for AMQ. And see here. Here we go. Let's take a look here. All right. So once again, we got all of these risks over here. Let's see here. And they have at least a year. So that's one area too, is you want to make sure they have at least a year, have enough cash for a year operations. This is one I would, between the two that we looked at, and we're not including the Enduro, I would be more willing to put my money into AMQ, I think, than the other one. But that's a thing. And sometimes you got to kind of trudge. Like you might just sort of say, okay, I'm going to look at a few of them and then I'll pick one of the few. Well, you don't want to do that with penny stocks. With penny stocks, I have this big list. I probably, if I was seriously looking for a penny stock, what I would do from that list, and let's go back to the list here, is I would come through and I would pretty much do all of them. I would start just pulling them up and looking at them because there's gonna be that diamond in the rough, and I might find one that just is absolutely kicking. Now, I can also now here, watch. If I let's say, for example, I'm like, I need it to be making money. I need it to be profitable. Well, I can come into a key ratio, for example, here, or actually, you can actually just search for the name instead of figuring out which one it's in. I'm looking for. Let's go with return on equity right here. There we go. So I want to have, let's just put that in there, return on equity. We'll add that. There we go. So we now have another filter. I'm going to bring this over here. I want it to be positive. No, we're not there yet. Not there yet. 24. Well, 24 is a little more unrealistic. There, 12. 12 is perfect. Now let's take a look down here. Ooh, look at this. We've narrowed it down to a handful. So let's look at this CANB. All right. I'm excited now. CANB, Canada Biz Capital. Okay. And it's actually on the venture. So let's take a look at this. At first, I looked at that and I thought it said cannabis, but instead of cannabis, maybe they still are a cannabis company. I don't know. When we look at the last year, look at this. That's not a bad movement. I do like the looks of that. You'll notice as well their EPS is positive, so they are making money. I like that. What do they do? Is this actually a cannabis? Maybe it is. No, it's a capital company, right? No, it does have cannabis. So it is a cannabis company, vertically integrated cannabis company. I mean, cannabis is one of those things that I don't like to invest in. You know, too many people get burned with it, but this one does look more promising. Just mathematically. And when you come down here and you'll see here, debt to equity. Their debt to equity 1 point. That's really good. So they don't have a lot of debt. Look at this return on equity, 94.16%. Holy banana bread. This is not a bad little company. So CANB, wow, that one has potential. And just going back once again, let's look at it over here. CANB. Now this site, I find that this is not the best site when it comes to. I don't even see it. So they may not even be listed on here. Well, maybe. Let's take a look. This looks like. No, that's a completely different company. Yeah, different company altogether. So yeah, it's not even listed over here, but I do have it here. Now, here's the thing too. Depending on your broker, if you're using Wealthsimple, for example, there's a good chance that you may not be able to find this on Wealthsimple. So that's and here's another one, IQ. Let's just very quickly look at IQ. All right, here we are. It's okay, Air IQ Inc. So they're also on the TSV. Before I even look at that, I just want to see what they are. Let's see. Whoops. All right, so let's see. LOT-based asset management solutions. Okay. So fleet control so it's software. They're a tech company. The EPS, look at that, 13 cents. That's not bad. Let's take a look at their year. Nice. See, this is another nice one. Although they just had a little bit of a drop. That's kind of concerning to figure out what that is. But overall, other than that little drop, that's been pretty good. And I have a feeling we're going to see a nice return on equity in here as well. Let's pull this up here. Oh, look at this. This market cap. They do have 13 million. So they do have a little bit of depth to them. Let's see. Their return on equity, 70.51%. That's fantastic. This is actually a neat little company, IQ. I kind of want to throw a few dollars on that one just to see what happens. But so anyway, that's just kind of the neat little thing. I'm gonna just give me a second here. Let's pull out of. All right, there we go. We'll kind of come back to the full screen. All right. So yeah, that's just kind of a neat little bee. So can be is on Wealth Simple. Okay, okay. There we go. Yeah, can be looked good. I think those of us who've been in and around this community for a while, if you remember the old Weed MD that almost everybody got burnt on, I didn't. I managed to. I just happened to be online when Wall Street Bets started pumping some of the weed stocks, and I made a profit on it. But yeah, so can be looks good. IQ, I really liked IQ. I'm actually gonna write this down right over here, because I would not. Uh, it looked good enough that it's like, if I'm gonna gamble on one, that would be one that would be maybe worth gambling on. Throw throw a couple $100 on it and sit back and see what happens to it. But yeah, so that's kind of the whole thing when it comes to penny stocks is you just want to sort of dig around. And as I said, be picky. When we had the initial list, we were running into a kind of a lot of ones that you couldn't get a clear cut sense, but that's why using more filters, adding the ROE filter all of a sudden changed the game. And we started to bring up some of the really good ones. So that's kind of the way it should go for at least for penny stock investing. I can't remember who requested this one, but whoever did it was a fantastic topic. Actually, whoever did, I remember they also replied saying maybe this is one that should be done on the regular channel. But I look at it this way: is that I have no problem doing something super interesting that maybe should be on the regular channel for you guys, because you guys are members. You're paying, or you won, one of the two. But as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter whether you paid or whether you won. You're still a member, so that to me makes no difference. Yeah. So anyway, if you guys have any questions or anything while I'm here, drop them in to the chat, because it's definitely I have a few more minutes. If there's some questions, I'll have a sip of my bubbly. Oh, like I almost expect Chad to ask a question on when I'm going to talk the entire community into moving to Manitoba or Saskatchewan. No, Saskatchewan. It's actually funny. I think it would be kind of cool to live in Saskatchewan, to be honest, other than the winters and the cold. But at the same time, here's something funny about me. I have never yet seen the Northern Lights. Every time I've been in a place where the Northern Lights have reached down, it has always happened on a night that it's overcast. So I've never seen them, never once. So one but is out of context. I don't know if I'm getting the context of the one but hey, no, that's kind of cool. So yeah, no, I've never seen Northern Lights. Now I think in the prairies you do probably run into them a lot more than you do if in Ottawa. Or it's actually interesting. I was looking at pictures from back home in Nova Scotia, and everybody's all googly because they got all these Northern Lights. And when I lived in Nova Scotia, the one or two times that I can remember the Northern Lights coming in, it was overcast. So someday I'm going to see the Northern Lights, even if it's a situation, because now that I have a driver's license, once I have a car, I just have to find some place that it's not overcast and has the Northern Lights and drive there, just so I can finally see them. So I'll have to take a look at that. Yeah, so I think that's all I have. So thank you guys once again for being channel members. I really appreciate it. It's awesome that you guys support the channel, and without without you guys, well, I wouldn't be doing these extra little videos, but no, you guys do make a big difference for the channel. So I really definitely appreciate that. Oh, and Sammer sneaking in with something at the end. ETF like QQQY is 100% capital gains on a cash account because it's not a real dividend. Yeah, sometimes you have to be you kind of have to really, really look into some of these ETFs. Some of these ETFs have some pretty tricky things. Things like QQQY, absolutely. See, something like, and that's why when you have to, I guess when I play with something like that, I'm probably going to put it in a registered account just to get rid of the whole tax aspect of it. So that's just one of those things, that's a good thing to keep in mind, is to sort of understand how the taxes are going to work on any ETF that you're going to put into a personal account, because sometimes they are a little bit different. Uh, for example, take a REIT. Some of those distributions you get from REITs, they're not falling under the normal tax. You're paying 100% tax on them. So you kind of have to pay attention to stuff like that. And a thank you, Candace. Oh, thank you. I'm just really appreciative to get here. It was actually funny. I almost forgot that I had this tonight. It's not that I had forgotten. I didn't realize it was Thursday already. I was for some reason thinking it was Wednesday, and Jill was like, "Oh, what topic one?" I was like, what topic? What are you talking about?" She was like, "Oh, the channel member stream." I was like, "Oh my God, it is Thursday." Thank you for reminding me. I would have been eating some humble pie if I showed up at like 9 o'clock tonight, because I was like, I just remembered. But no, luckily that worked out well. Anyway, it's been fantastic. I will see you guys. Well, we got a video coming out tomorrow. What is tomorrow's video? Oh, it's another channel member request. One of the channel members actually said, "Can you do Telus versus Rogers versus Bell?" And I said, I gave them the link to it because I did it back in January. Then I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. It came from a channel member, so yeah, let's just do it again. So that's coming out tomorrow. So that's going to be kind of cool. And then we'll be back here again on Sunday for a regular live stream. And then next month, of course, we're going to be back. Now, also, I'm going to put out a poll for you guys probably tomorrow, because the last Thursday of every month, you guys get to pick the video. It's for everybody, but you guys absolutely get to pick it. So, I'll put out a poll just to give you guys a chance to drop some suggestions, and then, well, not a poll, but just a thing to drop some ideas, and then we'll vote on the ideas. So, heck, if that's the opportunity, if you want to get a video that's outside of the normal source of videos I do, the only rule I'll have is that it has to sort of fit with the channel. So it needs to be finance in one way, shape, or another. So I'm not going to do, for example, I'm not going to build a Lego Christmas tree for a video. As much fun as that would be, and I do have a Lego Christmas tree I could build, but it has to be finance related. Anyway, I'll spell out the rules on that tomorrow when I put the post out. But yeah, so that's kind of exciting. This will be the first time. This the last Thursday of November will be the first time that we've done this, so it's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, I will see you guys a little bit later. Thank you once again, and have yourself a great end of day.